All right, guys, so we have looked at the multiplication table and I have given you tips and tricks on how to make learning the multiplication table super fun and easy. The next thing that we're going to be looking at is multiplication of two-digit numbers by one digit. So we're going to be looking at a couple of examples and I'd like us to do them together. First question, 42 times 5. So let's look at this question. You have 42 times 5. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to use 5 to multiply 2. That's the very first thing that you're going to do. So 5 times 2 is, I believe you learned your multiplication table, right? Fantastic. So 5 times 2 is exactly 10. So because it's 10 and 10 is a two-digit number, I cannot write 10 here. I'm going to have to write 0 and then carry my 1 over to this side. The next thing I'll do is to do 5 times 4, which is my next number. 5 times 4 is 20. But I cannot write 20 because you see that one we carried, we cannot throw that one away. So we have to add it to 20. Now your addition is after your multiplication. Now I've seen certain people make this mistake where they say 4 plus 1 is 5, then 5 times 5 is 25. It never works that way. So it has to be your multiplication and then your addition. So 5 times 4 is 20, then 20 plus 1 is 21. That's it. Very easy. So now let's look at another example, shall we? So let's look at 63 times 7. So we have 7 times 3 is 21. Now we have 21. I can only write the last number down. I can't write my 2. So I'm going to write 1 and then I'm going to carry over my 2 to the top of 6 right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is 7 times 6. 7 times 6 is 42. 42 plus 2 is 44. And this basically is how you solve two digits by one digit questions. So now let's look at multiplication of three-digit numbers by one digit. So we have a number like 746 times 5. Now this is a three-digit number multiplied by a one-digit number. Now, the same way that you did your 2 by 1 is the same way you're going to do your 3 by 1. You go step by step. So we start by saying 5 times 6. And what is 5 times 6? 5 times 6 is 30. I can't write 30. I can only write the last number. So I'm going to write my 0 and carry 3 there. Next thing I'm going to do is 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Then 20, remember we carry 3. You must always add that number you carried. So 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 3 is 23. So 3 and then we carry 2. Then we do the last one. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 plus the 2 that we carried is 37. So we'll do another question. 569 times 4. Now let's look at this question. The exact same way we did this, the exact same way we're going to do this. So you start by saying 4 times 9. What is 4 times 9? Exactly, 4 times 9 is 36. So 6, we're going to carry our 3. Then we do 4 times 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Plus the 3 that we carried. Remember, you must always add the number that you carried. So 4 times 6 is 24, plus the 3 that we carried is 27. Then we carry the 2. We now say 4 times 5, which is 20, plus 2, and that is, great, 22. So your answer to this question is 2,276. And that is how you do your 3 by 1 digit. Now I need to say that it is the exact same way you would do 4 digits by 1 digit, 5 digits by 1 digit, 7 digits by 1 digit. It is the exact same process. It doesn't change. Just make sure that you take the numbers one after the other, and you always remember to add the number you carried after you have multiplied, right? I hope you understood that. Now that we've gone through our multiplication table, we've done our 2 and 3 digits by 1 digit multiplication. I'm here to show you how to do 2 by 2 digit multiplications and 3 by 2 digit multiplications. So say I have a number like 46 times 24. Now please watch carefully. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with 4, and I'm going to use 4 to multiply these two numbers. Then I would use 2 to multiply these two numbers. But the placement is very, very interesting and it's very different. And if you miss your placements, then you will get the answer wrong. First thing that we're going to do is 6 times 4, and 6 times 4 is 24. So we write our 4 and we carry 2. Then we do 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. The next number we're going to be using to multiply the top is 2. But now this is where it gets interesting. 2 times 6 is 12. We are not going to write that 2 here because directly under 4, you're going to put a 0 as a placeholder. No number is going to be there. The next multiplication is going to start where the number that you're multiplying by is positioned. So we're going to be starting right under 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 and we'll carry 1. Then 2 times 4 is 8 plus the 1 that we carried, 9. And then we add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 2 is 10. 0 will carry 1. 9 plus 1 is 10 plus another 1 is 11. So your answer is 1,104. So now let's look at another number. Let's look at another question. Another 2 digit by 2 digit question. So I have 98 times 45. First thing, we're going to use 5 to multiply the top. Then we'll use 4 to multiply the top. So let's go. 5 times 8 is 40. So 0 will carry 4. 5 times 9 is 45. Plus the 4 that we carried is 49. Then we multiply by 4. But remember, before you do your before you multiply by 4, you must put a 0 as a placeholder here. Because the first number that you multiply by 4 must be under 4 in the same position where 4 is in this multiplication arrangement. So 4 times 8 is 32. So you're going to write your 2 and you would carry 3. 4 times 9 is 36. Plus 3 is 39. We add those two numbers. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 2 is 11. We carry 1. 9 plus 4 is 13. Plus 1 is 14. 4, we carry 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. Our answer is 4,410. Now, this is how you multiply 2 digits by 2 digits. Now, we're going to be looking quickly at how to multiply 3 digits by 2 digits. So I have a 3-digit number, like 179, and I'm multiplying that number by 26. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my 6. I'm going to use 6 to multiply all the numbers on top. Then I'll use 2 to multiply all the numbers on top. So 6 times 9 is 54. 4, carry my 5 to the next part. 6 times 7 is 42. 42 plus 5 is 47. 7 will carry our 4. Then we have 6 times 1, which is 6, plus the 4 that we carried. It's going to give us our 10. Now, before we do our multiplication of 2, or use 2 to multiply the top, remember to put a placeholder here. Because the first number that you're multiplying by 2 must stay in the same position as the number that you're multiplying by, which is 2. So 2 times 9 is 18. 8 will carry 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus the 1 that we carried is 15. 5 will carry 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus exactly the 1 that we carried, which is 3. Now, let's add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry 1 here. 0 plus 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Then 3 plus 1 is 4. So your answer is 4,600. 654. And this is how you do your 3 digits by 2 digits multiplication. Now quickly, let's look at our 3 digits by 3 digits multiplication. Now, it might appear to be complex, but trust me, if you follow the rules and you stick to the correct positioning, you would get it in no time. So now let's look at a 3-digit number. 742 times 126. First thing that we'll do is we'll use 6 to multiply all of these numbers. Then we'll use 2 to multiply. Then we'll use 1 to multiply. But please pay very close attention to the positioning. Because even if you get the multiplication correct, but you position the numbers wrongly, your answer will not be correct. All right? Okay. So now let's go. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 will carry 1. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus that one we carried is 25. Then 6 times 7 is 42, plus the 2 that we carried is 44. The next number that we're going to be multiplying the top by is 2. But remember, we're going to put a placeholder here. No number is going to be there. 2 times 2 is, 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 7 is 14. Remember to place your numbers correctly. Even if the numbers go outside, as long as you have positioned your numbers correctly, your answer is correct. Don't worry about it. Now let's go to the next number, 1. Now before we multiply by 1, you know that there is going to be no number here. There is also going to be no number here. The first number that we're going to be multiplying 1 by would be in the same position where 1 is, which is here. So 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 7 is 7. Now it is time to add up this beautiful arrangement, shall we? 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 0 is 9. 4 plus 8 is 12 plus 2 is 14. 4 plus 4 is 8 plus another 4 is 12 plus the one that we carried is 13. 7 plus 1 is 8 plus the one that we carried is 9. So my answer is 93,492. And this is how you do your 3-digit by 3-digit multiplication. Don't forget to position your numbers correctly, okay? Whatever number you are multiplying, whatever number at the bottom you're using to multiply the top, remember to start your arrangement from there. Every other place, put a placeholder, put a 0 there. 0 is your placeholder. No numbers should be there so that your positioning is correct and your answer would be correct. So go try one today and let me know how easy this was, okay? So now we're going to be exploring a very different but interesting way of doing multiplication. Now, you must be familiar with the vertical method of multiplication. But this method that we're going to be exploring right now is the lattice method of multiplication. It kind of makes it super easy. Let's look at this 2-digit by 2-digit number, 77 times 84. So you have a box that's divided into 4 places. So you have 4 boxes. So this is 77 on the top, and then you put your 84 on the side. Now we start multiplying. So you start by saying 8 times 7. 8 times 7 is 56. Your first number goes here, your second number goes here. Now 4 times 7 is 28. Your 2 goes here and your 8 goes here. Now let's do this side. 8 times 7 is 56. 5 and 6. 4 times 7 is 28, 2 and 8. Now, you add diagonally, just as you would in your 100, tens, and units. So 8 plus nothing here is 8. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 8 is 16, so that's a 6, and we're going to carry 1 to the next diagonal. So 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. 4 will carry 1 here. 5 plus 1 is 6. So my answer to this question is 6,468. Now let's try this in the vertical method just to confirm this answer. 77 times 84. 4 times 7 is 28. 8 will carry 2. 4 times 7 is 28 again, plus the 2 we carried, which is 30. Remember, your placeholder goes there. So 8 times 7 is 56. 56, we're going to put our 6 and carry 5. Then we do the same thing again. 8 times 7 is 56. 56 plus 5 is 61. By the time we add these, we would have 8, 6, 4, and 6. Our answer is 6,468. All right? Super cool, right? I know. All right, so we're going to do this using the second set of numbers, 63 times 45. So do the exact same thing, 63 and 4, 5. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. Now let's do 5 and 6. 4 and 6 first, then 5 and 6. So 4 times 6 is 24. And then 5 times 6 is 30. Now we add 5 plus nothing is 5. 2 plus 1. Now you're looking at this diagonal. So 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 0 is 3. Then 1 plus 4 is 5 plus 3 is 8. 2 plus nothing is 2. You read your numbers this way. So this answer is 2,835. Now let's do the vertical method of this question just to confirm that it is correct. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 carry 1. 5 times 6 is 30 plus that one we carried 31. Remember to put your placeholder. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry 1. 4 times 6 is 24 plus that one is 25. By the time we add these, we would have 5, 3, 8, and 2. Our answer is going to be 2,835. Now, I want us to try it with one other number because I want to explain a concept in with the lattice method of multiplication that is easily missed. So we're going to use a number. We're going to use a smaller number. So let's still use our 77, right? 77 times, let's say 77 times 16. Okay? Now, when you say 1 times 7, it's not a two-digit number. So it's not a number that you can put a number here and put here. If it was 7 times 2, we'll write 1 here and then 4 here. But now this is 1 times 7. Your answer is 7, which is 1 digit. What you do in that instance is that you put a 0 here and then you put your 7 here. So you must always write your answer as 2 digits. 6 times 7 is 42. We'll do the same thing. 1 times 7 is 7. Remember, we're not just going to write 7. We're going to write 0, 7 because every space must have a number. And where there is no number to be put, you must put a placeholder, which is 0. 6 times 7 is 42. 2 plus nothing is 2. 7 plus 4 is 11. Plus 2 is 13. We'll carry that 1. 1 plus 7 is 8 plus 4 is 12. And then 1 plus nothing is 1. So my answer to that question is 1,232. Remember, you read your numbers this way. 1,232. And that is the answer to 77 times 16. The next very, very cool method of multiplication I'm about to show you is called the box method of multiplication. Now, the box method of multiplication is slightly different from the lattice method of multiplication and also different from the vertical method of multiplication. Now, in your box method of multiplication, you have 22 times 63. We're going to be starting with these two numbers. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to break these numbers into their place values. So your 22 is 20 and 2, and your 63 is 60 and 3. So you're going to be working with the numbers broken down into their place values, which is what I've just explained there. So you're going to have 20 and 2 for 22. And you're going to have 60 and 3 for 63. Now, when you break numbers down into their place values, you can agree with me that it is actually easier to multiply these numbers. So let's look at this, for example. 60 times 2. Now, when you have a number that ends in 0 times another number, for example, 60 times 2, you do 6 times 2, which is 12, and then you add your 0. So 60 times 2 is 120. Super easy, right? Then you do 3 times 2, which is 6. Come to this side. Do the same thing. 20 times 60. 2 times 6 is 12. And then you add your zeros that are in your answers. So 20 times 60 is 1,200. 3 times 20 is 60. Now this is where it gets interesting. You now add up all of the numbers that are in the box. So you're going to have 1,200 plus 120 plus 60 and 6. You're going to add all those numbers together. So this is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then 1 plus nothing is 1. You have 1,386. Now I'm going to do this multiplication in the vertical method just to confirm whether this is correct or not. So you have 22 times 63. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. Remember to put your placeholder. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry your 1. 6 times 2 is 12 plus that one you carried is 13. Now let's add. You have 6, 8, 3, and 1. 1,386. Right. Now let's look at the second set of numbers. We have 48 times 12. Now breaking 48 into its place values, you're going to have 40 and 8. This 12 is going to be 10 and 2. Now we start multiplying. 10 times 8 is 80. 2 times 8 is 16. 10 times 40 is 400. And 2 times 40 is 80. Now we're going to add 400, 80, 80, and 16. This is 0, 0, 0, and 6 will give me 6. 8 plus 8 is 16 plus 1 is 17. Carry 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. My answer is 576. Now let's try the vertical method to confirm that that answer is correct. 48 times 12. 2 times 8 is 16. 6 will carry 1. 2 times 4 is 8 plus the 1 we carried, 9. Remember to put your placeholder. Don't forget your placeholder. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. Now we add. 6 plus nothing is 6. 9 plus 8 is 17. And 4 plus 1 is 5. 576. So this is another very cool way of doing multiplication.
I am learning with I am Learning Hub.